So, but yeah, so when I was in my teens, I used to be very athletic. I used to weigh more and much more than I do now, and even now, and that was all muscle mass. But then when I did Aikido, there was that whole idea that you don't need muscle, and almost like that's a bad thing because it's all about not using power, not using force in Aikido. And
It's so
so
weird to me. It's so weird to me.
It is weird, but that's also one reason why you can see a lot of overweight traditional martial arts senseis.
Who are also black belts. Because, but
Right.
on the other hand, Sensei said, the karate black belt.
Chubby Surprise.
Yeah, indeed, he calls himself the Chubby Surprise because he's a little bit bigger, but he can still head kick you. So you don't have to be, fully lean to be, athletic. But I get what you're saying. Like the big belly, barely able to move, but they can still, do kata, kata.
Right. And I think it's just, to a degree, that's just a very comfortable myth to have, because then you're not supposed, you don't have to work your ass off. And I think I don't think most Aikido or senseis do that consciously, but it's more subconscious. But I think one of the reasons is because, it's comfortable to believe that myth.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I was never overweight, but I believed that myth, and I also went through various diets and so on, and so I lost a lot of weight, and I also had that mindset of, as you said, like that Bushido kind of Japanese anime loving guy.
Very yeah. Your style was almost very samurai, kind of like have you ever seen the show Samurai Champloo? You kind of remind me of the more refined guy.
Yeah. That's a good point. I love Samurai Champloo, by the way. I'm actually thinking about watching it again these days.
Yeah.
So,
you and me both, man.
The good thing is, this is a side topic, but my girlfriend hasn't seen many of the things I did, so I'm like, and you know what? I'm going to show you this. And actually, I'm just like, I just want to watch it again. So,
have you ever heard of Dragon Ball? Oh, man, I've never seen it either. We should start on this season, on this episode, to be specific, though. Just on a whim.
Yeah.
I have that with
Avatar. Okay.
I have that with Avatar.
Yeah.
My guilty
pleasure. I already watched Terminator Part 1 and 2 with her, so that was pretty cool. Anyway, so martial arts, back in martial arts. So I was in that state, and there's like, I think a bit of a deeper insight with all of that is a thought that I really cherish, that I picked up from my friend Francisco de los Cabos, who is both an Aikido practitioner and a badass fighter. He says that you cannot be a pacifist if you're not capable of violence, because the only thing you are if you're not capable of violence and you consider yourself a pacifist, that's just kind of a hiding face of, against threat.
Being a pacifist, it's like a luxury. It's most people have to defend themselves, most likely once or twice in their lifetime, but it still happens.
Yeah, and I think for me, violence in the past used to be scary. I mean, as I said, I grew up in rough areas, and I was exposed to it all the time, and I think that created a psychological tension from me.
Yeah, that you didn't want to be the bad guys. Those guys were the bad guys, and they used violence, so you didn't want to, be that.
That's true to a degree, but also there's an aspect of being a pacifist in regards to you're choosing a non-violent scenario because subconsciously that you wouldn't be able to defend yourself. So you're trying to talk your way out, and you're
but that also can be a good thing, because we're going to have Nick Drossos. I don't know if you know him, Nick Drossos.
We know each other.
All right, nice. But Nick Drossos, in my mind, he is one of the most realist self-defense guys on YouTube.
Yeah.
But he also talks about, fights that you can't win, like with three guys who all have knives, or, you can't fight them. You have to get out of there, because it's also kind of a passive, mindset, but it's more like, being prepared. Fighting isn't always, the best option.
Yeah, absolutely. But You want to? Yeah, go ahead, continue.
No. You go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. No. So the thing is, there's a difference if you're in a confrontation with someone and you're trying to talk your way out of it because you know that you will not be able to fight at all.
Yeah.
And there's a difference if you know that probably I'll kill this guy, but just for his own sake, I'll just be nice to him. There's a very big difference. And in the past, I did not have the option, the alternative option. I was nice because I was doing Aikido, but I was also nice because I knew subconsciously that I will not be able to deal with this. When I learned mixed martial arts, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, it doesn't make you invincible, absolutely. And even right now, I think probably Nick Joshuas would say the same thing. I would actually avoid a fight probably more than a guy who's knows less about fighting, because I'm aware that being a fighter or being capable of violence does not protect you. There's knives, there's guns, there's
foreign objects like baseball bats as well.
And try to defend yourself. While being in a car, if somebody pulls a gun on you and puts it against your head, you can be the best. You can even be Khabib or something like that. But just give your money, just give the car. It isn't worth your life.
Sure, and I'd say having that knowledge is a very powerful thing. But then, obviously, if you can back that off, and if you know that if shit goes down, I will know what to do. I am training with people who can kill me in 10 seconds. It's unlikely that this guy, will do that. So not to have false confidence or confidence which is over the top, but having that knowledge, makes you feel different.
Yeah. Making sure that you're not we also did a talk with Sensei Endo, like from Happy Life Martial Arts.
Mm-hmm.
He said, I have, we were talking about egos, and he said, I have an ego, but my ego is like, my life is important. My loved ones, their lives are important. So I'm willing, I'm training so I can protect, both them and myself, when shit hits the fan.
Yeah,
it's always good to have those options. Absolutely.
Yeah. And you might still not win technically, but you are still, you have that mindset from, I'm just going for it, I'm just going to do everything I can.
Yeah, and personally, I'm a guy who likes to dig deep for the better and worse, but one of the things I'm thinking about too, and this is my personal opinion, but these days when toxic masculinity is a big subject, I think I was, you could say, victim of that as well.
Yeah.
In the past, I used to consider, like you said, like that being a sportive guy who's capable of fighting is almost like a bad thing.
It's so weird. It's still so weird. Sorry, I'm sorry, but
toxic
I get what you're saying.
There's just toxic personalities. Let's be honest.
Yeah,
it doesn't really take a gender to dictate if someone's toxic or not. It just takes their mindset, really.
You can be the biggest, toughest guy ever, and you can still be a nice guy. You don't have to be a dick about it. Most dicks, most people that are dicks, they train because they are insecure.
Sure. I think, though, what happens is with people who were bullied or they're to a degree weak physically and psychologically, they usually resent that or feel bad about that and put a negative label on that because guys who bullied them probably were more physically powerful than them. And they associate that being powerful equals bad. But I personally think that and I do think there are differences, between genders, not only, physically, but also chemically. And
mentally, for sure.
And statistically also, it's pretty much clear that guys are much more prone to violence. But I think that's one thing you can be afraid of that and say, oh, I'm not like these guys and I will be different. But
on the other hand, I'm also very afraid of someone like Amanda Nunes, just saying.
Yeah, sure.
You're afraid of Amanda Nunes? I'm afraid of Chris Cyborg. She's like a T-800, man.
Yeah. And I think in the end, though, violence is a part of us, and it's something that an idea I picked up from Matt Thornton, where he pretty much says, he likes to say that it's all about making good people capable of violence, and that's
yes.
I think those two are not contradictory. And if you're I guess that could apply to women, but I'll speak as a guy. If you're a guy and you know that you are capable of violence and you feel comfortable with that, in my experience, that makes you feel much more kind of grounded in yourself.
Yeah.
And even if you'll never have to use that, it almost seems to me like that's a crucial part for a man to have. I'm not saying everyone should do that.
I couldn't agree more with you, my man.
You know, I'm all for, children growing up with grappling arts like wrestling or jiu-jitsu, so they don't develop brain damage but still get the, the feel of how to handle another human being. And, but Rens, go ahead.
Absolutely. Like, more to your point, Rokas, I actually use the analogy all the time. Like, violence can be separated into like a wolf or into a shepherd mentality. There are people that will use violence in a very predatory fashion, and they'll be like, they'll look for people they can victimize very easily. And, typically speaking, from a shepherd standpoint, how do you stop a wolf from getting to the flock? You need a shepherd to be there to guard the flock.
Yeah.
And, I don't really hear many analogies saying that shepherds are spineless or shepherds are willing to just kind of like turn the cheek or, like turn their back on the flock. They're always like, crap, there's the sheep. Come on, pup, let's get him. Doggo, get the freaking wolf now.
Yeah.
But like, you do have to, like, how do you stop a bad person with bad intentions? You need a good person that can balance it out with their
how to
equally
stop
bad intentions.
How to stop a bad guy with a gun, have a good guy with a gun to your side.
And a better shot.
Yeah.
Or a quicker draw.
Yeah. Yeah. And, I think this discussion started off with the question about whether I'm more athletic than I used to be, and basically the answer is yes. And it's I realized it's great, and the fact that I was neglecting that part during my Aikido years and associating negative aspects to it, in the end I realized it's bullshit, and there's nothing bad about being athletic, and even like to a degree being proud of your body. I mean, obviously, don't boost your ego, don't get attached, but I think it's a healthy confidence that I would wish upon any man, and the same applies with the capability to defend yourself, to defend your lady if you need to, your family. I think if you're not capable of that, there's something which subconsciously will bother you.
But I also, really encourage, women to do that, because if you're a woman and you need to cross, a dark alley, for getting on and off to work, it's very nice to either, know how to defend yourself, with martial arts training, or on top of that, have a self-defense weapon or pepper spray or something like that, and know how to use it and when to use it. Because in my opinion, every self-defense tool or weapon should also be, drilled and trained, like techniques, because otherwise you still panic.
Sure, and I'm with you there. And when there was a stage where I was really digging deep into the self-defense aspect of it all, and especially then I got really hyped about an idea. I like to say that people should learn to read, write, and self-defense.
Yeah,
and
I agree.
And that idea was also especially applied to women. And I'd also add, it's not only about physically defending, but also there's certain information just to know. Like, for example, a big one, and there's a great book about that called The Gift of Fear. It's about trusting your intuition. Because one of the biggest mistakes, and that applies to both guys and women, but I think women are victim to that even to a greater degree, because they are even more expected to be polite and to be, to agree with things and to look nice and etc.
I agree with the most part. We all, men and women, both got their stereotypes that they're that they're needed to live up to by society. But go ahead.
Right. Yeah, and I mean, we all have challenges. I mean, guys probably are more about protecting their ego, but there's cases like, let's say the elevator doors open up and there's a guy or a girl, but let's say a guy, which just really gives you a bad feeling. Like your mind is freaking out. You feel like there's something wrong about this guy, but usually the conscious mind will say, how will I look if I will not get into the elevator? I will not. I have to be polite. What am I thinking about? This is crazy. This doesn't make sense. It's daylight, etc., etc., etc. And so you step into the elevator, and bad things happen. And I already have stories there, that legit stories that prove that point. A friend of my girlfriend, who's pregnant, she was walking down the road, like a major street in her city, 10 a.m. in the morning. People are around, and she had a bad feeling that a guy was following her, but she thought, oh, well, this is 10 a.m., nothing is going to happen, and the guy started beating her. So,
Jesus.
But the thing is, she felt that intuitively.
Is she and the baby okay, by the way?
Yeah. She started screaming that, you douchebag, what the fuck are you doing? I'm pregnant, and he kind of freaked out and ran away, fortunately.
Yeah.
But that's where I feel that being informed is so important. Just telling both women and men that it's okay to not be polite, that your intuition does speak to you. And the way Gavin de Becker, and he's like responsible for the safety of superstars, presidents, and everyone. He's like top level guy, so he knows his stuff, and he explains that our intuition is the subconscious, which is gathering more information than we are capable of understanding consciously. It picks up signs and clues that something is off, and it informs our survival instinct. But the thing is, nobody gave us permission to listen to that. We are too conditioned to be polite, to be nice, to be rational, and that ends up there. The whole book is about stories that end up bad.
Since I was young, my mother always told me, trust your gut feeling. When it doesn't feel right, just go away. But people also need to understand, for the people listening to this, Rokas, he isn't talking about being afraid per se. He's talking about, being alert, being,
trust your situational awareness.
You don't have to be afraid, because if you look afraid, you're more likely, to be attacked even. So, I mean, be confident, walk across the street, with confidence. But if you see in a situation that doesn't feel right, that doesn't seem right to you, just walk away. It isn't worth risking your life over being polite.
Sure. And I agree with you. And Gavin de Becker speaks about too. He explains that his aim is not to make people more afraid, because there's basically two different types of fear in this regard. There's the survival-based fear, which is internal, which just freaks you out and you feel something is off. And there's psychological fear of you conditioning yourself and forcefully kind of making yourself afraid, because there's a belief that will make you more prepared. And what Gavin Becker stresses, and I think it's a very good point, is similar to what you said. If you're forcing yourself, half consciously maybe, but you're making yourself afraid all the time, you will not notice when the real instinct of fear will kick in. So it's actually it's not helping you at all. The real thing is knowing that and believing that your instincts will kick in when there will be a need. So you don't need to go around being afraid of things. That will not help. But if things will be bad, there's a huge chance your brain will pick that up and it will inform you. So,
I totally get what you're saying. Rens, do you also want to move in on this?
A little bit, yeah. I mean, I often hear the entire ego thing brought into a lot of conversations. I think it's interesting that no one ever mentions particular aspects of psychology. I used to study a little bit on a very, very minuscule Wikipedia basis. Ego is merely confidence in oneself. No one ever mentions the id or the superego, which is blasted confidence or a particular internal instinct. I'm not saying you have to be ego out the head, but don't.
There we go.
The time has come. Rokas, I have a question for you. Did you bring your sports car equivalent bicycle? It's the time for the speed round.
I'll do my best.
Absolutely. So this has been this question has only had one winner so far, and I swear to God, I don't know why. But if you had to, Vincent knows why.
I know why.
But if you had to be in a fight, we're gonna call it an MMA fight this time, because I never speculate if someone got into the cannibalism realm.
It's for the streets.
MMA fight. Okay, street fight. Jean-Claude Van Damme or Steven Seagal?
In a life or death situation.
I guess
Hands
it's
or
life or
hands,
death.
no weapons, just you and him.
I'd go for Van Damme.
Oh,
Really?
Yeah.
There's
Because,
still,
I
there's
mean-
The
still,
cycle's been broken, Vincent.
there's still a little bit of Aikido.
I'd be happy to choose someone else out of those two guys because I mean, you know, they're actors. But thing is, I made a couple of videos about Steven Seagal of debunking some of his stuff, and he does have a legit background in Aikido, but
Does he
Well,
really
also
speak
he's
Russian, though, is a
big.
better
Yeah,
question.
but that's
I do not know.
that's the question for me, because you know, if you had to fight somebody in a life or death situation, why wouldn't you choose Seagal? Because I would choose Seagal all day, because I'm for sure 100% I'm gonna beat him.
Wait, so I mean, am I fighting alongside him or against him?
Against him.
Ah, okay, I got the question
Oh,
wrong.
no, the answer just
Oh.
changed, didn't it? All right, I'll re-ask it. Who would you rather fight on the streets? Seagal or Van Damme?
Okay, I thought you were just speaking me as have a buddy.
No.
I'm not. My brain is not that fast. I'm sorry.
Not a problem, buddy.
No problem.
Yeah, I'd fight then against Seagal. Yeah, for sure.
The cycle
I guess
continues.
that's 5-0.
That's 5-0. We had Jeff Chan, now Rokas, Sensei Ando. What did we talk to? Sensei Seth and
So
Icy
far,
Mike.
5-0 versus Steven Seagal.
He's
Don't make a compilation about that so soon.
yeah. No, yeah.
Vincent's turn.
Next question. If you had to choose, would you rather put your child in MMA class, in an MMA gym, or in an Aikido gym? And I'm talking about a really young child, 5 years old, if it was your child.
You know, it really depends on the gym and the teacher. That's I can't say, you know, that doesn't matter. If it's a good MMA gym with good coaches, then probably I'd lean for MMA. If it was a really good, if you'd ask BJJ versus Aikido, then BJJ for sure.
Yeah.
MMA, I'd have to look in, you know, what's the school. Aikido only if the teacher is really, really good and really honest. But I'm leaning towards MMA.
All right. Rens?
Favorite movies, action or sci-fi?
Movies?
Yep.
Yeah, which genre?
Sci-fi.
Good call.
I think,
Right.
you know, I think thing is, a friend of mine, actually brother of Matt Thornton, Zach Thornton, he stated quite well that he's very much into guns. You know, he knows everything. He's a arms geek, and he said when you know how shooting really works, movies that involve shooting are not as interesting anymore. And
That's a good point.
And he said the same is more or less with martial arts movies.
Yeah.
The more you realize
Sometimes,
really,
but sometimes martial arts movies like Undisputed from Scott Adkins. Those movies, you know, they use moves that really work. Only the move, you know, it's over the top. It's like MMA plus.
yeah,
But the moves do work. Yeah.
They can be fun, but I think it became less enjoyable after I got more sense of what martial arts are. But also too, I like to be challenged intellectually. That applies to all aspects of my life. And so, for example, I just went to watch. They showed Interstellar again in cinemas these days because there's no other movies to show because, you know, everything's on a lockdown. I was like, and I just went to watch it again.
I can't wait once they're showing Karate Kid, the original, again in the cinemas.
That'll be awesome.
I'm more looking for it for Tenet, but yes.
All right, next question. Which martial arts movie is, you know, of any time, any style, is your personal favorite? If you had to choose one.
Martial arts movie? Oh shit! I haven't thought about.
I've never heard of that one.
In the past, it would have been probably some answer, like clear answer. Now, sorry, I can't be fast. I have to think for a moment.
No problem. Take your time. Come on!
What?
Come on! Come on!
Favorite martial arts movie of all
Well, it's
time.
it's got the speed round for a reason.
Nothing comes in. I don't know. Let's say John Wick. I like John Wick
Ooh, good
these
call.
days.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
They're so, it's so weird because they're over the top, but they still are grounded in realism because of
Yeah,
the
they
throws and the moves. It's
Yeah,
like a mixture.
I love the gung fu as well. The
Yeah.
shit in the head 5
Yeah.
times, and so
You know,
John Woo, represent.
but that's also, nobody would get that amount of headshots, but how he
Keanu Reeves can.
of course he can do anything, but how he moves, how he walks around, those things are really. It was the first movie I ever seen that shoot John Wick 3, like shooting underwater, like
Yeah.
with the bullet stopping. That's realistic, that's how it's supposed to go. Bullets don't, move just straight to water. Arrows do, but bullets don't. So it was the first movie I ever saw. I was totally geeking out because I like
Nice.
little parts of realism in movies. I also like, when you have a sniper scene that you see somebody get shots first, and then you see the flash, and then you see then you hear the the gunshot, like because the bullet moves faster than the speed of sound from a certain distance.
Okay, nice. Yeah. Well,
Next.
it's apparently more realistic than I thought.
Absolutely. Next question. You're stuck on a desert island. What 5 things do you have? Flare gun, not an option.
Okay. Black belt #1.
Does Wi-Fi work?
You get Wi-Fi, but you don't get a flare gun. I feel like that's the one thing everyone overlooks. Like, do I get a flare gun? That would be really helpful.
Bro, but do you have the Wi-Fi?
Yeah, no, I'd probably go for like some mechanism which gives me Wi-Fi, then some Kindle books I could read myself to death, and if I am ever saved, then I come back super intelligent. So let's say that's 2. Obviously, like a knife, and
very good.
I guess survival book is already in the Kindle, so or less, I guess pre-downloaded survival book. Number 4.
Hey, not a bad call. You got one more to go.
Shoot, what's 5? Don't know. I think 4 is enough. I'm a minimalistic guy.
That.
Yeah. Okay, last question. What do you, which martial artist or fighter or coach do you still really, really want to meet, and maybe that he or she can give you some tips or tricks for your martial arts journey?
I guess I'll think of something. Thing is, I feel lucky because a lot of people that I wanted to meet or contact somehow, I did manage to.
Yeah.
And I think I'm at a stage where martial arts right now are a bit in a foreground, so that's not like a big thought in my mind. And I think I'm a person who, if I would really want to meet someone, I already probably would have went for it and did. So, but if I have to choose an answer, what could that be? I could say someone outside of martial arts easily.
Hey, that's totally acceptable.
Okay, fine. That's acceptable indeed.
No, I actually like to ask the question other people as well, like who would you have dinner with a dead person, already dead, and alive? And my choices are dead,
Oh.
Steve Jobs, and alive, I'd go for either Christopher Nolan or Christian Bale.
That's
nothing wrong with that.
Unique choice, though.
Well, I like Batman. So.
Me too, my man. Me too. The Batman, the Dark Knight trilogy.
All right, so I have one last speed round question.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Can we get a Christian Bale Batman impression? Any line you want.
Oh, it's so easy. Where are the drugs? It's easy.
Since you asked that question, I also want to know from Rance now, which person do you want to meet? Dead and
go ahead,
alive.
guys. What are your answers? I'm curious.
Dead
as
or
well.
alive?
And alive.
Yeah,
which
both.
person dead, which person alive?
See, it'd be a lot easier if they were both dead and alive. If they were like a zombie, that would be way cooler because you would totally forget about the fact that they were
Rance, we're running out of time. Come on. It's a speed round.
All right, dead person, I'd have to go Abraham Lincoln. just to see if he really was that tall without the hat.
All right.
And then a live person, I would definitely have to go with probably one of the Gracies. Probably, if not Henner, then Heon Gracie from Gracie University.
Very nice.
Nice. Yeah. They're a good choice. Yeah. Super geniuses in marketing too.
Indeed. Absolutely. Plus, they're very sweet, tall guys. Just saying.
Yeah, they are.
You meet them, they're very delightful.
But they're also very big, indeed, for Brazilians.
Yeah, they're like really tall.
Yeah.
Tall and lanky. It's really weird.
Not for Dutch standards. No, they're tiny.
They look up to the Dutch.
Yeah, but to be honest, I'm not a big guy myself, from the Netherlands, but all of my friends are way taller than anybody, And
Rokas, don't let our camera angles fool you, man. We're incredibly short. I am a technical midget at 5'10". This hair is all my height.
For me, that totally, Nelson Mandela. I really think he was a very smart and intelligent guy who, made the world a little bit better. And alive, since we're talking about the Batman trilogy, Morgan Freeman, I think. Because
good choice.
For me, since watching Bruce Almighty is God for me, so.
Nice.
I think that would be an amazing opportunity for you to ask him so many enlightening questions.
No, you got
especially
to have
about Andy Dufresne.
You got to have the freckles for it.
Dude, that's appropriation, man. I can't do that. We'll get flagged immediately.
All right, but Rokas, you have to go soon, you said, so.
Yeah, we can do 5 more minutes or so, just like a summary or something.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, so this one isn't really a speed round question, but like after the lockdowns are pretty much lifted and you're allowed to travel and such, what's next for your journey? Are you going for a destination or just kind of like staying within the realms of Lithuania?
Yeah. Well, thing is, first of all, I was supposed to be in the States for a month in March, but obviously that didn't happen. I was supposed to do like a whole round trip, go to Florida, meet Bill Wallace, then go to Portland, Oregon, train there, go to Reno, then Los Angeles, then Spain, Barcelona, and then UK. Damn. Nothing happened. Thing is, part of me was happy about that because I got exhausted from traveling last year.
I get
and
that.
I wasn't. I was
Be careful
like, I was
with yourself, my man.
Yeah, well, I did a lot last year, so I actually was happy that I got to sit in one place for a while, and I'm enjoying my time in Vilnius. I know it's on the plans that as soon as the lockdown is off, I'm still welcomed in the States, so probably that will happen. I also already haven't put that on record yet, but I decided I want to dive into education again. Or I mean,
yeah, congratulations.
Stuff. Not academic yet. I'll go by easier steps, but to begin with, maybe later. But I realized if I want to achieve my goals, I need more education. So the first step, I'm going to go on a 8-month coaching course, like executive coaching, life coaching, neuro-linguistic programming. It has everything, and it's apparently like a good program. And that's based in London. So part of that is through distance, but I'll have to go there 4 times for live sessions, like live weekend sessions. So that's probably my priority.
But what is your job right now? Because I'm wondering, what is your job right now? Because I'm wondering,
martial arts extraordinaire.
Yeah, but I mean, how do you make a living?
Well, I do like to say that I'm a master of none these days, but YouTube is my primary source of income, my YouTube channel. And then I also do some video editing for certain people. Like people send me some videos, I do the editing, and I send it back. But YouTube is where I make my money.
Right. Rents, I hope to have that someday. But for now, talking to amazing people like yourself, is good enough.
Sure. YouTube is it's way harder than people think, especially the first few years. And I'm happy and lucky that my intention wasn't to make money from YouTube or get
No,
big.
that's also not our. I'm also just making that joke because of
Yeah,
course it would be
Yeah,
nice because when you're a little bit bigger you get to talk to more and more people like yourself
sure,
absolutely.
and
sure.
that's
There,
for us it's more like we love talking to martial artists, talking to people that just can give us some enlightenment, and some people that we are really big fans of. So
sure. Yeah, no, that's a brilliant leverage. That's something I love as well about being on YouTube. That, as
yeah,
you said, it gives you access to certain individuals. And most of the interviews I do, it's just people that I want to talk to, and it's just on the side that I make a record. So I get what you mean. But just a lot of people, they get into YouTube these days because they imagine that it's like, oh, I just put on a few different videos and it's going to go big. But the thing is, it's a lot of videos out there that you have to
yeah.
compete with, and
But
it
also
takes a
for
while.
yeah, but
Yep,
also
Definitely
for the
a supply
most
and demand thing.
yeah, for the most part, it's almost like I always say, Instagram is like a hobby, YouTube is like a real job if you want to do it right.
yeah,
And it's like not only planning for planning for interviews for us, but it's also like the editing, the thumbnails, everything around it.
sure,
But
sure.
people
It's
forget.
a science. It's
Yeah,
a science. I'd say there's a lot of things which, if you know, helps. But in the end, I mentioned one of my key phrases. It's unique value. As long as you're giving unique value and you're reaching the people who are interested in it, then you're going to be
yeah,
good.
totally. I totally agree with you.
100%.
Mm. So yeah, but yes, I mean, money from YouTube is nice.
Yeah, but also for Ransom now, we don't. Yeah, of course we care about money, for having a living, but it's like
Yeah,
for us, it's like hopefully, in like a year or something, we're getting bigger, but like with bigger channels, and bigger and growing a bigger following. But I don't know about you, Rance, but for me, it's like an honor to talk to the people that I've been a fan of for years. So
Oh,
sure, sure.
100%,
it's
man. I
amazing.
mean, I've been watching you for almost a year and a half, 2 years now. Like,
Mm.
I'm not going to say it's surreal to talk to you now, especially since I was messaging you like for a week and a half about
Sure.
hopping on the show. I
Yeah.
mean, it's just really cool to like, like for me, the mission statement behind Chat Combat is kind of like the enlightenment and
Yeah,
kind of expenditure of philosophical natures in the martial arts.
yeah,
We're not allowed to spar, otherwise I think it'd be called something different than Chat Combat.
Yeah.
But like, I really like to talk to people about martial arts, and I don't like the idea of trying to like find a very solid point that you have to stick to. That's how echo chambers are formed, and you're like, no, we just need what's inside the chamber. You need to break out of that thing and find
yeah.
what works and what doesn't work. And doing this, it really helps that goal, because we've all been there. It's like, this is the one answer, and then you discover,
Yeah.
no, there are other answers.
But also, most people, aren't willing to work for nothing because, if you want to take YouTube seriously, you need to upload regularly. They have to make videos regularly, and for the most part, especially in the beginning, like Ransom we have right now, you don't make any money from it, so it's like a very busy hobby. And no, I'm not complaining in any way. I love doing it. That's not, don't get me wrong. But it's like some people, like you said, they expect to make money right away, and that's not the case.
Yeah. Well, my favorite book on YouTube, and just it's about social media in general, but
Yeah,
applies to YouTube, and YouTube is touched. It's Crush It by Gary Vee.
I know
And
the name. I don't know the book.
it's I definitely recommend reading it.
Thank you.
If anyone asks me
Nice.
about YouTube, I'm like, read the book. So Crush It, and he's one of the ideas I picked up from him is the concept that if you're not if you're not going to be able to make 50 videos from the get-go without complaining, and you will not run out of ideas. And if you will, yeah, you basically, if you have enough ideas for 50 videos in a row and you're finding that without any whatsoever recognition, then you can try out your luck. But most people, they just make 2 videos, 3 videos, 5 videos, max 10, and 6 months, a year passes, and they don't get results, and they're like, okay, this sucks, I'm done. Some people give up
Yeah,
after a month. But the thing is, it takes a while until everything goes out there, unless you're lucky and one in a billion chances get and your video, goes viral for some reason. I mean, I did create a number of videos which to a degree went viral, and it was consciously made, but still, that's like, there's never guarantees, and it takes a lot of work still. In the end, it's, as you said, it's about grinding and about delivering
having
something.
fun
Hopefully,
too. If you don't have,
yes,
if you're not
absolutely.
having fun, why would you do it? I mean, Rance and I, we really love doing this. We really love talking to guys like you. I mean, who have a good mindset, who have good gives us a good insight in Aikido, and in the world of MMA, an ex-Aikido person in MMA. I mean, but we're having fun. We're loving this. So I mean, why wouldn't you do that?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah. And so that's a crucial component as well. And as I mentioned, for me, I was happy as well that happened, that I was doing videos for about a couple of years just because I loved it. And I wasn't expecting to make, I mean, I saw the potential to make money, but that was not my driving force. And that helped go through what Seth Godin calls the dip, is where, where nobody cares about you for a while until eventually you become recognized. So yeah.
Well, but since you have to go, I mean, I want to thank you really, really much for being on here. We're hoping that that you want to make a return someday.
Fingers crossed.
Sure.
Guys, the channel link of Rokas' channel will be in the description. Thank you all for watching. Please leave a like, subscribe to both Rance and my channel. Is there something you want to?
Rokas' channel.
And Rokas' channel, indeed. Rokas, is there something you want to add or want to say to end the episode with?
Yeah, no, it's all good. Thank you for having me. Thank you for the questions and the generous compliments you said off record. So
we'll say them again. We'll say them again on record. You're an amazing inspiration, and we really appreciate all the videos that you put out there. For all the people that like that content, indeed. You are an inspiration, my man.
I totally agree. You have a very great mindset. You're very humble. You're very, like I said, you're very mature in your ideas and your ideology about martial arts and what works and what doesn't work. And I think, your humble step from being an Aikido black belt to being an MMA beginner is a really, great look for young, for the next generation of martial artists.
Thank you.
Well, thank you much for being here, my man, on chatCOMBAT. See you later, guys.